This is the Your Kick-Ass Life podcast with Andrea Owen, a no BS guide to self-help and badassery. Because ladies, let's face it, life's too short for it to not kick ass. And here's your host, the girl who serves it up straight with a side of crazy, Andrea Owen.
Hi everyone, I hope you are having a fantastic day. This is a bonus podcast episode. I had no intentions of sending an extra episode out today. However, I made a video that I was going to send out to my email subscribers and then realized there's a lot of you who subscribe to the podcast and listen every week who might not be on my email list. So first, if you want to jump on there, I send out emails helping you live a kick-ass life about every week. It's super easy. Go to yourkickasslife.com/free. And because this is important and I wanted to make sure that the people who follow me heard this video, then that's why I am rolling it into a podcast episode. You can go and watch it if you want. It is, the link is in the show notes to go over and land on my site where it will be. And I also would love for you to go over there because there are some important links I would love for you to take the time to go and check out, to go and watch. So what this video is, it's about 21 or so minutes where I am talking about my thoughts and my opinions about what happened last week and into the Easter weekend with Rachel Hollis. So if you are unfamiliar with who she is, I do talk a little bit about it in the video. And I'm also going to link to her social media video that caused the major uproar that has happened. It has since been deleted from her social media account, but you can find it online just so that you know the context and what is happening for that. All right, I'm going to get to that in just a minute here. But I wanted to address a couple of things that I've thought about since I made this video yesterday. And one thing that I don't address in the video, because I wanted to keep it focused on my initial thoughts. And I also wanted to point people to women of color who have talked about this and who are more qualified to talk about this than I am. And again, those links are in the show notes. This is also a conversation about toxic positivity that I want to have at another time. And I had a very, very strong feeling that the bubble would burst. You know, I'm using air quotes over here around toxic positivity. I am definitely someone who is guilty of this, and I've been thinking for a long time about writing more about it, talking more about it, and I've really needed some time to get my thoughts together and also still am in the process of learning how to do better and moving away from that kind of teaching. So switching gears a little bit. I want to jump into the audio of this video that you're about to listen to, but I wanted to mention one more thing, and I didn't get into it in the video because I really wanted to point you to, especially women of color who have talked about this and who are more qualified to talk about this. And I want to make it very, very clear that I personally was not harmed by this video. There were plenty of people that were. And that is also part of the problem. So I want to make that abundantly clear that I am not in the group that was harmed. Although I have a problem with this because she's such a huge influencer and face of the women's empowerment industry. But I want to point something out because I saw it a lot in the comments on social media. And just in case there's anyone listening that maybe saw the video, doesn't get why people are upset about it, is saying that, you know, this is a witch hunt, people are bullying Rachel and it's a pile on, it's totally unnecessary. And of course there were some cruel comments in there that were unnecessary. However, I want to make this point. If there is anyone who is in that camp of she didn't do any harm, she's just being herself, she's just being ambitious and saying her truth, if that is what you believe, then you're not truly listening to the people that she did harm. as well as if you are digging your heels in without belief, then you're part of the problem. And trust me, that was a time in my life when I was too. I'm not perfect. I'll say this 100 times. I still have a lot of learning to do. I still am trying to be a better feminist. And like I say in my sign off, it's our life's journey to make ourselves better humans and our life's responsibility to make the world a better place. This is part of that. This is absolutely a great example of where we can stop what we're doing and look and listen and hear people who have been harmed. All right, that's all for the intro. And here is the audio from the video I made a couple of days ago. Hi, everyone. I wanted to make a video and talk about what has happened over the last week or so, mostly what has transpired on social media in regard to some things that were posted by an influencer in our industry, and that is Rachel Hollis. So this is tough because I have notes. I have 2 pages of notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at this. I want to make sure I stay on track and that I get to everything that I wanted to say here. This is really tricky because a few reasons. I went back and forth if I should do this or not. And some of the reasons that I decided not to make a video or speak too publicly about it is, first and foremost, is that I didn't want to center myself as a white woman. When things happen like this, we tend to make it about us and center ourselves, and also with what's happening with being performative. And I'm gonna talk about exceptionalism too. Being performative, and also, the quote unquote woke Olympics can happen as well. And I didn't want that to be what this was about. I also absolutely did not want this to be about bashing another woman. I work in the field of women's empowerment, and you see sometimes people talking about like we should always lift other women up, and I've always said yes, and some women behave poorly, and we need to hold people accountable when they're being harmful. And let me back up. For those of you that don't know what's happening, I am going to post some links below with this video. Rachel Hollis has since taken down the posts that were problematic, but you can still find them on the internet. So I'm going to get into the gist of it. Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. With Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. Connect with customers inline and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. Get hardware that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone, transform your tablet into a point of sale system, or use Shopify's POS Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/noise, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/noise to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/noise. I have definitely been in that place where my paycheck ran out before the next one got here. Life doesn't happen bi-weekly, so why should payday? The money you earn can be in your hands today with Earnin. Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. You can use Earnin to pay for a girls' night out, a last-minute gift for a loved one, or even summer camp for the kids. Make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability, security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in noise under podcast when you sign up. It really, really helps the show. Noise under podcast. Subject to your available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. And I'm also going to post a series of things and resources. There are some women of color who have made some excellent videos outlining the problems with this. And I definitely want you to take the time to watch those. I've watched probably 4 or 5 at this point. And those are the voices I want to point to and lift up. And at the same time, as a leader in this industry, I felt like I had a responsibility to comment on it. And partly because I take this personally. I take this personally that Rachel is such a heavy hitter and a face and an influencer in this industry. And I always want to keep a pulse on what's going on. And I also want to make very clear that this is more so about leadership than it is about her personally. It's also about her behavior and not her as a human. I want to make that abundantly clear as well. So I'm jumping around here. Let me look at my notes. And to be clear, I have not read any of her books. I have never been to any of her events or even followed her on social media. I don't really have that much of an opinion of her. I will say I was worried in the beginning, just from like a human to human level, and thinking to myself, I hope she's really done a lot of work on herself or does that, because anytime you have that kind of, in my opinion, I imagine, it hasn't happened to me, but I would imagine when you have that rocket to success, it can change people. I mean, we've seen it with celebrities, and that was my hope for her, as a woman, as a mother, as a business owner, as a wife, that she truly got all the support that she needed, not just by team, but by therapists and any inner work that she needed to do, because it was a lot in a very short amount of time. Okay. And let me talk about exceptionalism for a hot second here. So Lisa Renee Hall, who's been on my podcast before, I have been a part of her Patreon for probably 10 months now. I've learned a great deal from her. And a lot of race educators talk about exceptionalism. And what this is something that people of color, especially white people, do, where we think that we are exceptional, obviously, in that we try to separate ourselves from people who are causing problems, like from racist people, who are people, like what Rachel Hollis did. So it's also kind of like the woke Olympics, and it is acting as if you're the good white person. I would never. I can't believe she did that. And trying to pull yourself away from quote unquote problematic behavior so that you're seen in a better light. And I have done it before. I've talked about it on my podcast before, and maybe that's why I'm so quick to see it now. But I definitely didn't want this to be about that. And I want to make it clear that I still have so much work to do. And I think a lot of us have a lot of work to do. And it is an ongoing process that will never end. And I mean, to take a couple steps back again, why does this matter when it comes to women's empowerment? I've said this so many times, and I'm going to continue to say it because I think it's incredibly important. When we're talking about women's empowerment, we're talking about feminism. And when we're talking about feminism, we are talking about patriarchy. And when we're talking about patriarchy, we're talking about white supremacy. Also, a couple steps back again, when we're talking about feminism, we really need to learn about and try to divorce ourselves from white feminism. And a really great book that I'm reading right now is Hood Feminism by Mikki Kendall. I have invited her to come on my podcast. I hope she says yes. And I have more highlighted in this book than I don't have highlighted. I'm learning so much. I will probably read it more than once. Okay, I won't get too far into that. So the reasons that I am talking about this, again, like I said, this is about leadership and not about what she did. Well, it is about what she did, and it also is just an example of something that I think needs to be talked about around leadership and around our wellness industry, our women's empowerment industry. And we need to hold other white women accountable. Again, this isn't about separating ourselves and saying like, I'm better than you and I would never do that, because I can't say that I would never do something like that. And please, the day that I do, other white women hold me accountable. I've been so grateful for other white women. It's uncomfortable as all hell when it happens, but other white women who have called me in and talked to me about what's going on and what's my responsibility. And it needs to continue to happen. And then I had Lisa Renee Hall on my podcast, and I was asking her to be clear about I watched a video of hers where she was talking about being performative and educating and teaching at the same time, specifically for white people. And I said, am I clear that it's both at the same time? And she said yes, because I wanted that confirmation to make sure that I heard her clearly. It can't be one or the other for us, for white people. And this is why this topic is so nuanced. It's hard to find a great mentor who can help me level up. My dream mentor, Shonda Rhimes. So I was really excited when I heard she has a class on Masterclass. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best. Masterclass is the only streaming platform where you can learn and grow with over 200 plus of the world's best. For just $10 a month, an annual membership with Masterclass gets you unlimited access to every instructor. And you can access Masterclass on your phone, computer, smart TV, or even in audio mode. I'm always looking for ways to be a better writer, so I took Shonda Rhimes' screenwriting class. It helped me gain concrete technical advice, including structuring, the writing process, and with shows under her belt like Grey's Anatomy and Bridgerton, it was so helpful. Plus, every new membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't wait another moment to start your learning journey with Masterclass. Right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/Andrea. That's 15% off at masterclass.com/Andrea. Masterclass.com/Andrea. Today's podcast is sponsored by MIDI Health. Ladies, are you over 40 like me and dealing with hot flashes, insomnia, brain fog, moodiness, some vaginal dryness, or weight gain? Don't just accept it as part of aging. These symptoms are often linked to hormonal changes during perimenopause and menopause. At MIDI Health, they get it. Their experts know what you're going through and how to help. MIDI clinicians are menopause specialists offering safe, effective, FDA-approved solutions. And guess what? MIDI Care is covered by insurance. So stop pushing through it alone. Schedule a virtual visit and dive deep into your unique symptoms and health background. You'll walk away feeling heard and with a plan to start feeling better. Visit MIDI Health today and reclaim your well-being. You deserve to feel great. Book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com. joinmidi.com. yes, I already mentioned this, but I take this personally, what happened. Because Rachel Hollis is a representative, she is a face of this industry. She has tremendous influence and opportunity. And I hope that she gets the help that she needs so she can get it right. Let's see. Okay. And let me move on to my thoughts. Oh gosh. Okay. So one of my values is around responsibility. I believe that we have a responsibility just as human beings, but especially as an influencer or an expert in the wellness industry, you have a responsibility to your community. You have a responsibility to your team, and you have a responsibility to yourself. And you have to take it seriously. You have to take it very seriously. And the thing that has struck me about this is, in my opinion, I make up, I don't know for sure, but I make up that what might have happened is that she put her ambition and her goals and her, what she said, climbing the mountain in her video, she put that first before the responsibility that she has to her community. And that has to come before your financial goals, before success. It has to, or that's what happens. What we saw happen, that's what happens. So let me break down quickly the video. Even if you didn't see it, this might kind of shine a light on what happened. And for those of you that did, and for those of you, I mean, I'm surprised if you're still watching this. For those of you that didn't get it, there's still a lot of comments that are saying like, I don't get it. You don't need to apologize for anything. You're just being yourself. You're just being ambitious. People need to get over it. People need to get a life. And those people have a lot of learning to do. Those people, I'm just going to leave it at that. Those people have a lot of learning to do. So first and foremost, she made a TikTok video is what happened. And she was responding to, she had done a live apparently the day before. And somebody in her live had said, you're privileged AF, and then went on to say, you're unrelatable. So Rachel made a 1-minute video responding to that. So she talked about her housekeeper, and twice in the video mentioned that it's the woman who cleans her toilets. That is dehumanizing. And she also was confused and thinking that people were upset that she has a housekeeper, and that was not the case. Of course you have a housekeeper. You run a multi-million-dollar business. You are in charge of more than 20 people on your team. You have 4 children. You're a single mother at this point. Like, of course you have a housekeeper. No one's mad about that. It was just the dehumanization. The words that she used were harmful towards the woman that cleans her home. She acknowledged her privilege, but then negated it. She said, yes, I have privilege, but I worked my ass off for it. That's not how that works. So I'm not even going to get into that, because I think if you're confused by that, you can Google like, what does privilege mean, or the definition of privilege, and it'll come clear like why she was completely missing the mark on that. She then talked about how most people won't get up at 4 a.m. and work as hard as she does. And she was equating her work ethic and her getting up early to her success without thinking about the millions of people that do the same. And those people don't have the resources or access or a partner who made plenty of money for her to build her business. That's part of the many problems from this 1-minute video. And then at the end, when she leaned into the camera and like squinted her eyes and said, no, sis, you can watch the video. I know that face because I've done it. And probably a lot of you watching or listening have too, like I recoiled, partly because that is not a fun place to be in when you are hurting and angry and feeling the need to be passive aggressive and condescending and contemptuous and snarky. I have been in that place, and it's not fun at all to be defensive like that. And for a minute, my heart goes out to her because this woman is going through a divorce. Her husband is publicly dating a beautiful fitness influencer. I saw that, and I don't follow her, Dave Hollis either, but I went over there to see if he had commented. I was like, oh, he's dating someone, and it looks like a new relationship. And I've also been in that place where your husband is dating someone gorgeous and seems happy, and you're single and not that happy. It's truly a difficult place to be. So she's probably going through some stuff. That does not excuse her behavior. You can be going through some stuff and make mistakes and still clean it up well. And then she said, I don't know what made you think I ever wanted to be relatable, which I was aghast because she built a business and a platform on being relatable. From her stretch marks picture to talking about it specifically on Oprah. I mean, there's so many examples of her talking about that. And, you know, even her TikTok bio says, like, I'm your big sis. Like, that's being relatable. That's why people liked you. And that is gaslighting your community. Telling them that they imagined it. Telling them that they're wrong. Leadership is hard, and we don't always get it right. I haven't always gotten it right. I have stepped in shit, as I like to say. I don't like to do it, but I have done it, and it's really the worst. And also, like, that feeling to know that you've hurt other people is fucking terrible. So I hope that she can get the help that she needs to gain some insight and maturity around this. And then in her apology, she blamed her team in a manipulative way to make herself look like the victim. It was a non-apology, actually. She started out kind of okay. This is also erased from Instagram as well. But I'm sure you can find it. It was the very last slide that really just, and I wanted to point this out specifically because this is something that I think a lot of white women do. This is definitely something I used to do a lot, coming from being in an abusive relationship where when I felt wronged, and then had also done something wrong, when I felt very defensive, I would manipulate taking responsibility by at the same time pointing the finger somewhere else and making an excuse for it. So it's a way to make yourself look like you're the victim and you're the one that's hurting. So the way she did it is she said, I should have listened to my gut instead of my team. I should have posted like I thought instead of listening to my team when they said it would all blow over. So she didn't need to say all that stuff about her team. She could have just said, I should have listened to my gut. I should have posted when I thought about it, and I didn't. She didn't even need to say all that other stuff, but she did blame her team. And this isn't the first time that she's done this. And trust me, if this was the first time she had done something like this, I most likely wouldn't make a video about it. But this is a pattern of behavior. And one of the main points I want to make here, and maybe I'll close it up with this, is be careful who your leaders are. My friend Sarah Dean said there's a big difference between a marketer and a leader. And one of the things I liked about her in the very, very beginning when she first came out, I said, oh, she's great at marketing. She is. She's a fantastic marketer. I'll give her that. And it's become clear with this is that she does not have the leadership skills it takes to lead a community of that size. This is where I take issue, is that a lot of the people in my community, there's crossover and also follow her in her community. And I feel highly protective of all of you. And we all have to be careful, and hero worshiping is dangerous. I see that a lot in her community. Because people are people. We are flawed and going to make huge mistakes. And my hope is that she hires some consultants that are not just crisis management, but that are DEI people. And she needs a team, not just like one person. And that she hires them also to work with her and her team, and that they do some deep work, and that she pulls back from social media and probably a lot of things. And she needs to take some time to do this really hard, uncomfortable work. So I wanted to keep this under 20 minutes so that you have time to watch some of those other videos that I'm going to give you that really break it down and talk about what it was like watching all of that unfold as someone in a marginalized community. I have the experience of watching it unfold as a fellow white privileged woman. And I was stunned. I can't say I was very surprised, but I was stunned by that behavior. And I imagine that it's worse for women of color and people in marginalized communities that she was degrading. So again, this was about her behavior, and this was about leadership, not her as a person. I like to see people's humanity, and I also really like to just accept that people are doing the best they can. And if that's her best, then she needs some support and lessons in leadership. And I hope she gets that. And to any of you that are or were hurt by that, I'm sorry that you had to experience that. If I ever behave in that way, I would hope that you would reach out to us personally, or just please, even throw a drink in my face. Like, all right, I'm going to stop talking. Thank you so much for being with me through this whole thing. Please check out those links that I'm posting, and I will see you on the podcast or on Instagram. Bye.
I'd like to introduce you to the Minimalist Moms podcast. It's hard enough being a mom, and the last thing you need is stress from too much stuff and an overcrowded schedule. For too long, I lived with the mindset that bigger was better, and the more I added to my life, instead of feeling better, I felt overwhelmed. It was time for a radical new mindset. Less is more. I'm not into extremes. I didn't throw everything away. My brand of minimalism is more about adding than subtracting. Get rid of the excess to make room for what you love. In other words, it's about living life with purpose. I hope you'll listen in, and my guest and myself can inspire you to think more and do with less. The Minimalist Moms podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts.